And good evening, everyone. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 102, of course, of the New York Red Bull the discussion group, the podcast. I'm Garry Redmond, at your service. Greetings and salutations. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Of course, there was a match where it ended in 1-1, and we're going to actually discuss that in length. Orlando City versus New York Red Bulls, which puts us literally at the doorstep of our opponent tonight, which is going to be tomorrow, on Saturday, which is FC Cincinnati, New York Red Bulls, which we're going to have a special guest, and that is Justin Blair from Cincinnati Soccer Talk stopping by. These are the guys that talk about FC Cincinnati all day long, and this is part of the Know Your Foe segment. Of course, naturally, we're also going to discuss some action that took place. New York Red Bulls 2, they won against FC Cincinnati 2. And New Jersey, New York Gotham FC went to North Carolina, and North Carolina Courage got their revenge. We'll talk about that after the break. Plus, of course, all of your hot takes from the live audience. I see you guys all coming in. It's good to see you guys. Good to hear you again. And, of course, naturally, the dangerous part of our show is we go into FC Cincinnati, which is bold predictions. And if you happen to miss our live show, don't worry about it. As always, you can catch the recording in our YouTube channel, goals.tv, and spotify.com. And all of those episodes, all of our episodes, are uploaded to those channels the very next day. So you're not going to miss anything. And if you happen to have any feedback, positive or negative, or suggestions, you can just drop us an email at rbdgpodcast@gmail.com. Remember, this is your show, and our ultimate aim is to make it better, and only you can help us out with that. Of course, on our YouTube channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to that, and of course, you'll be alerted to any new episodes that come up. And finally, we have a birthday shout out today. So happy birthday to our girl, Jessica Hickman, and of course, my man, Michael Sabo. Wherever you are right now, we hope that you are celebrating your birthday with family and friends. And with that, let us begin. We're going with Lanre Badmus and, of course, Mark Coates. Now, you're probably wondering why am I wearing the New York Red Bull 2 shirt, and I'll explain that in about a bit. But first, gentlemen, how was your weekend? Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
What's up? Hope you didn't slay the bunny. usually happens. Usually that happens after a loss like this. Now let's set the stage, right? We got walked out of the club by Columbus. Then we wound up walking into Miami out of the club during a deluge, and then we rolled into Orlando. Nice little city. There's a reason why they call it the city beautiful. It's a lovely little town. We got friends and family down there. We got some fans down there. And for all intents and purposes, things went well early, right? And so before we even talk about the during and the after, what was you expecting in this match? Honestly, drop dead. Honestly, what were you expecting in this match? Lanre, we'll start with you.
I was expecting, honestly, like a 1-1 draw, before the match. So I mean, seeing the result, that wasn't too surprising, but at the same time,
I hate you. That's the reason why
the way
you're
it happened is
right now.
way it happened, ground my gears, man.
Mark,
I thought it was going to be a tight match. I didn't think this was going to be, a 4-0 blowout for either team. Obviously, the last time they came to visit us, we had the 3-0 disaster. It was embarrassing the way that the fans that did show up were all over Gillespie wanting his autograph. It was disgusting. It was up at my end of the arena, and my wife and I left feeling a little slighted, and the fireworks show afterwards was cut short because it took so long to get him off the field. So, little bit of sour taste in my mouth when it comes to Orlando. I'm not particularly happy about them, and I know Lanre experienced the Open Cup debacle last year in person.
Years ago now.
So, You know,
2 years ago.
yeah, 2 years ago. Sorry, I don't like to bring that up, but you know, it's part of the history, and
brother came back heated. He wanted to murder everybody.
Yeah,
in the state.
it was.
That's how he was.
Hashtag F that mouse.
It did make for good show. You know, he was on a rant when he got back. So it was, but we did exactly what we should do on the road.
Mhm.
But everybody in the audience, every one of us felt the same way. That was 3 points we should have had, and you feel
It's another one of those moral victories that I hate saying it. Okay, especially if especially if your overall aim, right, fellas, is to be a quote unquote good team. Now, I know folks are saying, "Hey, I'm being too critical." No, I promised every one of you that I was going to be very critical this season, and I haven't stopped. And I said, "Okay, this was felt," and I wrote this in my piece in the Red Bull News Network. Hate to say this, boys and girls, this felt like a loss. It really did. It felt like a loss. You had a masterclass defensive effort, which is going to help you guys down a long run. Okay. They've seemed to stepped it up on their defense. The problem as it was last year, we couldn't score, but teams had a hard time scoring against us. That's how it was. Okay. So they stepped up their D. They added a couple of pieces, and oh my Lord, did they step up with their D? I loved it until the 89th minute. But first, before we even get there, folks are wondering, how do we got a goal in the first place? Well, once again, this man of the week again, Lewis Morgan.
Morgan to put the Red Bulls in front. Lewis Morgan making March memories in 2024. His 6th goal in this first full month. That's only the 2nd time it's been done. 1-0 Red Bulls.
From open play. Clinical from the penalty spot. 1-0 Red Bull.
And of course, the masked man did it again. At that point, we were wondering where was the second goal was going to come from, right? The game thread was done by Helene Kraft Rudolph. Excellent job as always. She said it best. We were all wondering where the second goal was going to come from. I mean, we had our chances. One of them in particular that had everyone livid, if I can use that word, where somewhere before that in 56th minute, you had my man, Elias Manuel, with only the keeper to beat. And you had Cam Harper on your right. And you made a shot, and it just missed to your left and missed the post by inches. I know you wanted to punch a wall at that point.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my girlfriend was stunned. She was like, wait a minute. No, that was a layup. Plain and simple. She said, no excuses. That's a layup. You don't blow sitters like that. You came off the bench to do that. Man, your ass need to be in the box. That's pretty much what she said at that point. And I can't blame her. I just sat there with my mouth like, oh, girl.
Listen,
I was ready to write game over. Game over. Game set match.
I was ready to celebrate so hard. I was literally getting ready to celebrate.
Yeah, everybody's focused on that, but that wasn't the one. That wasn't the only time we had an opportunity. We had other chances.
Yes, we did.
Of course.
But we just, it didn't happen. And that's just the reality of the situation. It didn't happen. If he pulls that ball just a quarter of an inch further, it's it. But he had ample opportunity.
I'm going to defend him. Yeah, I'm going to defend him a little bit here, Mark. What's that saying? You score goals on 90% of the shots that you don't make, right?
Yeah.
However, the thing with Elias is that blowing sitters, this has become a pattern, a very disturbing pattern. Oh, unless we're facing Charlotte, then all of a sudden he's MVP material. But for a person who's for a person like him who wanted to be here, I expected him to improve. I don't know who he told that anyone in the front office sold that lie to him. Sorry, I'm being a little.
I don't think
now
he's
now
here anymore.
now I'm being now I'm being a little harsh right now, right?
The gentleman in question doesn't work for our organization anymore.
Right.
He drank the Kool-Aid.
Right.
So
hope it was poison.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Look,
he killed my soccer team, so he need to go anyway. So I'm glad he exit stage left. Meanwhile,
we have 2 milk cartons and a half a milk carton.
Correct.
No, that's our forwards.
The scoreboard right now, in case anyone has been paying attention, I did say early in the season there were 3 guys that are still on that milk carton. One is working their way out of it. He ain't scored a bunch yet, but his assists is getting there. So he's getting off. That leaves just 2 jabronis that need to step up. Him and Burke. Every time I see the list where player availability, somehow he's on it. That's got to be a team decision. That's probably a coach probably looking at, nah, he ain't ready. He ain't ready. But he's ready to play for Jamaica and scoring for the other team.
We have to thank him when he gets back.
I do. I got to think. I mean, we all got to give him a bushel of roses. I mean, got everybody from India to Kingston looking to submarine his butt, okay? Because I'm sure they're fed up with him. But enough about that. We were doing just fine. I mean, defensively, master class. Never thought I'd ever say that about our defense. Last time we said about that word, okay, to our defense, 2018, boys. 2018. When we were housing dudes in the back. Okay, so much so that the keeper was bored because he ain't had nothing to do. Nothing to do.
Yeah, how many do you remember Robles just standing there going, "What are they gonna shot on me?"
Yeah, just hands in the back because he ain't got nothing to do. That's how good our defense was. We had an elite defense that carried us all the way to the Eastern Conference Final. People thought it was our offense. Oh no. Our offense and our defense was just turned on a dime, but everything was fine. Ely came off the bench, poor kid, and then in the 89th minute, this happened.
I feel like Torres is still building fitness. He's not been himself. I might be wrong here. He's got the ball. He's not really been threatening himself. That's a good ball. Angulo got there.
Jumping Jack, showing he's not a flash in the pan. 1-1.
City to get balls in the box. There's Angulo getting in behind and puts it into the area. Could be an own goal right here. It comes into the area. And it looks like a Red Bull player touches it on first look. But that's what they need to do. Get behind the defense and cut it back. Looks like Noah Ayler just ricocheting off of his back leg.
Yeah, that's the thing. Noah didn't see it coming until it touched his ankle, and you saw the reaction. Hands on head, like, oh no, what did I just do? And you hate to see it happen, right, guys? You hate to see it happen, where especially from a defensive effort like that. But it goes back to what we all was just about to say up until that moment. If you don't take those opportunities when they're presented to you, bad things happen. And this is the bugaboo. This is some of the bugaboos that I really want the Red Bulls to avoid. Okay. You can't say that you're a good team and this happens. Okay. Like you said, Mark, we had opportunities.
Well, yeah. I mean, Dennis. I mean, listen to me. Nicholas mentioned. Gengar. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I just keep calling him Gengar. For all the Pokemon fans out there. Yeah, he's that little purple dude.
I am
So,
waiting for the day when someone has
yes,
a full-size photo of that character in
and puts it up.
Board. Please put it up there for the kid.
But he had two chances, missed on both. He did not have a good game overall, and that's why he was subbed out fairly early. But overall, we had chances. But one of the things we talked about, before the show, you and I Dylan Nealis was the man of the match for our team. He was phenomenal. All right. And I think a lot of that has to do, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it. It's coaching. Sandro Schwartz is finding a good connection with our players. All right. When you look at the trail that we've had since 2018, and that's what I call it. All right. Last year with Troy was able to talk to the players, and they got along with them, and he was not bringing the best out of this team. He was doing the best with what he had, given the short time to, and yeah, we made the playoffs. As Miguel likes to say, we got a trophy for participation. So we make it in. But I think what we're seeing with Dylan is, I think we're seeing him mature as a player. And I think that the coaching staff has gotten him to understand positional awareness. He's not getting caught out of place. How many times do we scream at the screen when Duncan is in the wrong spot? And I've known him since he played with two. All right. I love the kid. All right. But you get days when you go, okay, which one of you is showing up on the field today? All right. Dylan seems to be like taking this on and it's like several people mentioned it in the course of the thread. Unless he gives the coaching staff a reason to take him out, I think he's a starter. And I think that he's earned that. He's played well. We talked, before we were set to start this one. A lot of Orlando's offense comes from crosses. They like to move the ball into the box from deep in. And that put a lot of pressure on our defense. And our defense held until that one moment. Now, can you blame Ellie for being? Listen, it happens. We all know that the ball can ricochet, okay? But when we decide to park the bus and play 10 in the back,
right?
None of us like to see it. I don't mind if
we all hate seeing it because something like this could happen.
Yeah, and it did.
Exactly. You just keep inviting that pressure over and over.
Right, over and over again. Or give Orlando credit. They kept, they kept, backing, they kept backing the Red Bulls up against the wall. And sooner or later, something was going to happen. The one thing that I was, wondering, why, my girlfriend was like, clear the ball, because she coached soccer. She's like, clear the ball, damn it, clear the ball. They couldn't clear the ball. You let them, you let them hang around in your end, and something was going to happen. Either a deflection or something, or a cheap goal. And here we go. Some things that we have to clean up, of course. Naturally, everyone agreed that the man of the match, of course, as you mentioned, but there were some other things. So Morgan has recorded 3 goals and tallied 2 assists across all competitions. Orlando SC. Yes, Lanre, he did own them. And with his 6 goals in the month of March, Morgan has tied Carlos Vela, remember him, in 2019 for the most goals scored by an MLS player in March. Now, he made his he made his 100 career appearance in tonight's match. His 6 goals through 6 matches was the 3rd most by a Red Bull player through the club's 6 matches this season. Guess who he tied that record with? To all you guys in in the audience, guess which of the 2 Red Bull players Morgan tied with? I'll give you 6 seconds. First one should be easy. All right. Figure it up. Time's up. Thierry Henry and Kenny Cooper.
I knew Henry. I didn't know Cooper.
I know already.
Yep,
I know
Kenny
already.
Cooper. They both had 7 goals in 2012. Remember that wild season? And at this point in the season, okay, through 6 matches, okay, out of possible of 21 points or 18 points, 21 points, they have 11, which puts these guys in second and, of course, in third overall and fourth overall. Not too shabby. Remember where we were last year? We're ahead of that pace. So if they can stay consistent, okay, they can stay consistent, we can have ourselves a good season. Now, when I say good season, better than last year. When I say great season with me, we round up with a trophy when it's all said and done, right? We're all setting our sights higher, right? Championship mentality or bust, okay? The Red Bulls have earned 11 points in 6 matches season, which is tied for 5th most in club history. 5th most in club history. Through the club's first 6 matches of the season, New York has earned a result on the road in 7 of the last 8 of MLS regular season road matches. And the good news, of course, as you all saw, we were wondering if any of these guys were going to be back for the international break. Well, Carlos Coronel, Noah Ellie, and of course John Tolkien all returned from international duty. It is the fiddle, and they're working in regeneration, and they're working their way back into fitness. So before we move over to our next segment, which is, of course, FC Cincinnati, does everyone agree with the man in the match?
Not me.
Do everyone agree? Not you? Okay. Who would you think would be the man in the match?
No, I'm saying I thought he was the man of the match.
Okay.
I didn't question it in the least. I like I said, he was probably like watching some of the other players. There were moments where I didn't see Amaya like I have seen him in the past. He just wasn't at the same level that he's been the last few games.
Right.
And even Wiki looked like he was tired toward the end of the game. But Dylan just kept going. He just kept going.
Humidity saps you. Humidity saps you, man.
Oh, I know.
Really,
yeah, it's crazy.
Do not discount the Florida heat. It surrounds you. It envelops you. It suffocates you. Thank goodness you're a pretty good athlete. You got to drink your fluids and everything else. But it's almost like, in some cases, if you're not ready for it, it's like running and walking through quicksand. I don't have a problem, with Nicholas, with Emil sitting out with a nagging injury. Bet him to get it out of the way, okay, so he can be at least 90%, 95, 100, because you are definitely going to need him for the stretch run, okay? Going to need him. Hate to say it. And this is why I want the fans to press, on the front office of getting, of course, another forward, because he can't do it alone. Morgan can't do it alone. Van Zier can't do it alone. I don't want to give the impression to say that they can't. But here in Metroville, what do we want more than wins? Assurances. And we want assurances, right? We want
hardware.
We want hardware. We want a home run hitter. We haven't had a home run hitter in years. Okay.
No, the last one, his number's on the side of the building.
Yeah. We haven't had a home run hitter in years. Okay. We're 99. He's a home run hitter. He was the dude that got the goals. He set the standard. Ain't nobody touched him since, which is kind of strange, okay, for an organization like us. So, we'll see what happens. Hamstrings, as you all well know, okay, with Serge Goma, they're difficult to heal. They're a pain in the butt to heal. And if you had to sit him, sit him. Sit him. I mean, he came from Leipzig to us. Very little rest in between. Okay, very little rest in between. So I know his hammy is barking. So sit him for a while. We cool, but the pressure's got to be rounded up. So we're going to take a break right here. When we come back in 30 seconds, I'm going to introduce you to Justin Blair. And the reason why that name should sound familiar to them, to most of you, is because he's one of the guys of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. And he's got some words again, he's got some words for us since the last time he was here. So we're going to sit back, see you back in 30 seconds. When we return, Justin Blair. Okay, the gentleman on just below me or to my left right now should have no introduction, but I'm going to give it anyway. Cincy Soccer Talk, to me, is one of the premier podcasts about FC Cincinnati, and they've been around since the team was founded. This was back in the USL days. Now, for those of you, Red Bulls and FC Cincinnati has had a very short but a bloody history. Okay, when they were making their wonderful run through the U.S. Open Cup, the whole world was in love with the orange and blue, right? Until we crashed the party in different stadium. Everybody in the Bailey, okay, has had basically a death wish on us ever since. Okay, we killed them, we killed their dreams, and then we got another reason why the New York Red Bulls were now the most hated club in soccer, okay, above everything else because of the corporate name and yada, yada, yada. But since then, games against each other have been epic, close matches, knife fights, rock fights. This was made for TV soccer because you never know how it was going to end. Usually, lately, we've been screwing up pretty late. Now, FC Cincinnati's had 3 wooden spoons. For those of you who don't know what the heck that is, that's if your club finished dead last 3 times. But since then, they've been approved. They've been approved. And now they went from worst to first. Supporters Shield winners last season. Now, the cool kids at the Bailey, do you think they're resting on their laurels? Passing that, that wonderful trophy, which, by the way, is one of the trophies you can actually put your hands on. The other 2, nah, you got to be a part of the organization. So this was nice for the club, but they have their set high, way high. They're greedy. I'm talking Daffy Duck greedy. They want championship or bust. I'm dead serious. Justin, before I give you to my 2 colleagues, back me up on this. You've lost a couple of good players, but then you've improved significantly. There's a reason why you're sitting up there in first place. You're on.
Second place.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
I'll twist the knife.
Yeah.
I'll twist the knife, man.
Thanks again for having me on. Cincinnati is a sports city that has been starved for championships. Since the Reds were, you had people like Pete Rose and the Reds and down at Riverside Stadium. They were just going bananas. They've been starving ever since then for championships. So FC Cincinnati comes to town, and that's like everybody's like hope, right? Let's win some trophies. Let's get it done. And then to have, the supporter shield in hand, that's very nice. But to have your rival up north walk home with the real prize, the MLS Cup, it was a brutal gut punch for FC Cincinnati fans. So, of course, in 2024, we're looking to lift that trophy this time.
I was going to say, you guys made the transition. It was a little rough going from USL, and just to give you a little history, I've been watching the Red Bulls 2 for quite some time as well. It was interesting. There were a couple times when you guys came to town. I know I don't even remember which year it was. I think it was 2018. MSU was just going under renovations in the spring, and the game had to be held at Red Bull Arena, and we sort of trounced you guys fairly well in the spring. And then, of course, you guys, can't forget our 3-2 victory in extra time. That just sort of like carved your heart out and handed it to you. I mean, it's honestly a lot of us sitting at home, and for our fans there, we really thought we were going to end up losing that game. I mean, it went down to the wire. And then you guys, the next year, you come into MLS, and that was obviously COVID year. I was at the opener. I was sitting with, some of the supporters. And you guys, you dropped the game to us. And then the next week, everything went to hell in a handcart.
Yep.
And you guys had a rough couple of years. But then, to bounce back, you guys got the Supporters Shield last year. Obviously, you battled against us, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. And yeah, you won the 2 games, but those were 2 really tight games. For whatever reason, our 2 styles really sort of lock up well against each other. It makes for great soccer. I don't know if you want to expand on your feeling about that and how well you guys sort of match up with us. You wouldn't think on paper we look like we would match up together, but it's always a great game when the 2 teams get together.
Yeah. So particularly with the last couple iterations of New York Red Bulls, with that, sitting in and making things difficult with physical tackles, and FC Cincinnati during these past 2 seasons, 2022 and 2023, relied on kind of high flying, maybe low possession ball, but high flying attack with Lucho Acosta and of course Brenner and Brandon Vasquez up top. So there was a lot of clashing of heads, and of course, I mean, the personalities for both of these rosters definitely make it some grab your popcorn type entertainment. I mean, that 2022 match stands out to me when you guys came to TQL Stadium. I believe that was in July, and John Token earned you guys a penalty kick at the spot. And then, I had some words for the Bailey. And then later in the match, you had Lucho Acosta, the smallest guy on the pitch, head-butted Aaron Long. Okay, let's see here.
That was insane.
Yeah. No, it's been fun. It's been fun soccer to watch. It's not even, and again, it's not, of course, we have that little bitter rival with one of your center backs because he's from Clifton, New Jersey. And then he wants to come and antagonize the South Ward during PKs. Yeah, we all knew what he meant. Cuts. Yeah, cuts. So there were people joking after the fact. He better never come back to Jersey.
See,
I wasn't joking.
Honest to God, I thought when it first happened that it was a genuine gesture. Like, I really did, because if you see the penalty kick, and I'm sure you guys have relived it as well, he turns around and he kind of gives it like a fist bump. And what do we normally see when players come home and score against their old team, right? They usually kind of, no celebration kind of thing. So right. He looks like he's turning around to kind of, like, whoa, my bad, like whatever. But then he does it continuously. The referee, the goalkeeper are ushering him on, and he's still doing it. I'm like, oh God, man. Yeah. And then, of course, the festivities that happened in the referee's locker room after the match.
Right. Well,
that's one way to put it. Huh?
Well, they say
not only that, the taunting us. You guys taunted the South Ward, post game too. That really ground my gears for a whole week afterwards.
The celebration.
That was the non-goal. That they thought was a goal, and then it was a little bit much, but. Like I said, the fan bases have gotten into it. The teams have gotten into it, and it's funny because, like, for us, being the team that's been in MLS since '96 with your northern neighbors, we don't like them either. We're not fans of them at all. All right. No. So we have that common goal. Yeah. We all hate Columbus. So we have more, I think, in a sense, we have more of a rivalry with Cincinnati right now than we have with a lot of other teams. And I'm talking like New York City, because they don't matter to us. Okay, you won the cup. You won the COVID Cup. We don't care. You have to rate.
No.
Yeah.
I despise NYCFC
right.
with a burning passion. Mark does not speak for me at all.
But we don't have but it's still not a true rivalry.
Yep.
It's not like us in DC. Okay,
Yep.
Because we haven't met them in the playoffs yet.
Yeah, Philly. Well, we haven't faced New York City in the playoffs yet. Wait,
no, that's what I'm saying.
It'll happen. We faced Cincinnati. That's like I said. Philly. Well, we don't like them. They don't like us. And it's like, but it's been over years. Philly's been around that 11, 12 years. So you guys are starting now, and you've already angered us. We've already angered you. We angered you before you were in MLS. So there's, like I said, and people built a lot out of, we handed Atlanta their first loss in MLS. We handed you guys your first loss in MLS. We've done that to a lot of teams. That's because we've been around so long. Yeah. The thing that we have to, it's heartbreaking for us. If you look at my jersey over my shoulder, there's no star over the top of my crest. For Red Bull 2 had a star, but now Next Pro, nobody gets to carry one until you win it in Next Pro. But that whole, like I said, we've looked at, seeing how you guys play this year. All right. Mm-hmm. You guys are just coming off your 1-1 draw. We obviously just played a game where we looked like we were going to have a win, and we end up letting in an equalizer late. So sort of on two different trajectories. And of course, we're riding this roller coaster, from the 3-0 loss in Columbus to a 4-0 win at home, and now a 1-1 on the road, and now we're on the road again. We actually have the most road games of anybody the first 2 months of MLS. Wow. So so we're just, and again, I think part of it too is everybody's afraid, being, let's say, up north. It doesn't even snow in New Jersey anymore. That's the sad part about it. We've gotten, it's been such a mild winter. The grass is in excellent shape at the stadium. We had a monsoon against Miami. All right. They got less rain in Philly and had to postpone their game because their field was just puddles. Our field held up. Yeah. I mean, it's just, so now, like I said, so we're having to take all these games on the road. So this is back-to-back road games, and we're facing up against you guys. And you guys are in second place. Obviously, we're all looking up at Columbus, and none of us want to be doing that. So,
well, currently we're in first place in the East. I didn't check to see if the goal differential for LA.
Yeah, you actually are in first place in the East.
Yeah,
we're one of only 3 NBA teams remaining in the league.
12 points, and I think it's 4 of you guys right below.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, Columbus is. Yeah. So like I said, and Miami's got an extra game played. So. They're at 7 games. Everybody else is at 6.
And don't sleep on Philly. Philly had their game against Seattle rescheduled, but they're still undefeated, and they could very well be on the same point trajectory as us.
Well, what's interesting?
So I got to ask you something.
Sure.
Justin. So you guys have lost Brandon Vasquez. Mm-hmm. You lost Brenner over the summer. You guys lost Alvaro Barreal on loan to Cruzeiro also in the winter. Same time as Vasquez. Yeah, you guys keep going from strength to strength. You have guys slotting in seamlessly, especially Bupenza, who you feel, had a great audition, so to speak, as a backup behind Vasquez last year. And he's just slotted in almost effortlessly. How was it like to have a team with that much depth? Because we haven't really had that in a while.
Well, just last year we were talking about not having depth, right? So there was lessons learned last season, right? You can't have players chasing after the supporter shield. Kind of cost us in a way. Nick Hagelin went down with an injury, so there's one of your starting center backs. And of course, what happened with Matt Miazga, there goes another starting center back. We had some issues at times keeping our right wing back healthy, Santi Arias, who also moved on from the club. So this year we learned our lesson a bit, right? Make sure that, it helps to have players like Yaya Kubo who can slot in anywhere but goal. It's good to have depth pieces, and we've been delightfully surprised in the offseason on some of your younger players like Dado Valenzuela. He's done phenomenal for the team so far. Had a really big game against Cavalier and Champions Cup, and then just this weekend he was the spark really him and Brett Halsey, who was their backup left wing back, who was able to kind of make a last second tackle in the box, which sprung Valenzuela for the game tying goal. I mean, it's having the depth pieces has really helped. Bringing in some big name players that have played a lot of MLS play has also helped. You know, DeAndre Yedlin is on fire right now for FC
He is
Cincinnati,
great signing
and
for you guys, and Miles Robinson,
Miles
who
Robinson
was
is
so
short.
unfortunately robbed of a World Cup appearance a year and
Exactly.
a half ago.
Exactly. So it has been nice. Now on the attacking front, you may be looking at our table and how many goals we scored. I believe we're at 6 goals scored through the season so far,
Yeah, a goal a
which
game about.
is like, it's shocking that we're sitting in first place and the whole fan base is screaming about our goal scoring. So it's nice to have good defense. It is nice to have players that can step up and at least see out a result, or be able to flip a result like we saw last week with Charlotte FC.
How happy are you with Bupenza, coming into, kind of take over the number 9 role from Brandon Vasquez? And also I see you guys signing Corey Baird. He's
Mhm.
done this history, you guys, as well. Um like were you worried? Did you have any worries or like apprehensions about Bupenza coming in to become the full time starter after selling Vasquez to Monterrey, or was your fan base confident that, this is the guy we got in house, we don't need to buy anybody else, he can slot in and fill in the role perfectly?
I think everybody had a bit of a reservation, right? I think
Yeah.
that Bupenza, it was kind of, I don't know how it got out, but I think it was part of conversation post match that Pat Noonan was discussing, that him and Lucho Acosta quite haven't been on the same page,
Oh,
and
off the
they
pitch.
yeah, on the pitch,
On the pitch.
and they blamed a little bit of that on the language barrier. Of course, you have Pupenza, who's
Defensive francophone. Yeah.
French speaking, and then you have Spanish speaking Argentinian like Lucho Acosta. So they brought in a translator. We saw instant improvement, and then toward the tail end of the season, Pupenza kind of disappeared a little bit again. And Vasquez was stepping up his play, so it was kind of a non-factor. Then coming into the season, that's kind of where I think some people had some reservations. I
Hmm.
thought this team really could be a really good team if Bupinza could get to 14 goals. He doesn't need to be a world breaker. He doesn't need to be in the golden boot race. He just needs to be somebody to complement Lucho Acosta, a dangerous, versatile, attacking forward. He doesn't have to be a true 9, a poacher. He just needs to be a guy who's an option to enter into the box and to make some plays when he's in there. Because I think that's where since Brenner, if we're being honest, since Brenner, we haven't really found a piece like that. Because Vasquez
Yeah.
is a phenomenal scorer of goals, but if you're asking him to create his own chances, that's just no bueno.
No, I think that's one reason you guys especially were so dangerous in 2022. I was sitting, on my perch, MLS, obviously like clubs like an original 96er club and all that. I'm thinking, all these pundits, they don't know what they're talking about. There's no shot that we are losing to these guys in the playoffs. And I was so wrong. The way Brenner, Vasquez, and Acosta had that synergy, that common synergy together, it was, as much as I hated watching it, I mean, it was incredible to watch, on an MLS level, as a football fan, as much
Mm-hmm.
as I may have really hated the result. That day and like pretty much every result against you guys since.
and it,
um,
and that's hard earned, right? So for
yeah,
a
of
lot of
course.
MLS fans, we're seeing some new teams come in. We're constantly seeing the parity, right? So teams that can jump up to the top of the table, almost seemingly without issue. I think people lose that synergy is built, right, after time. Like Acosta, Vasquez, and Brenner were all together in 2021, played the
Yeah,
entire season with each other, and it really didn't, like, until summer of 2022. Brenner still hadn't come on and really clicked with that group and understood, what runs do I need to make? What kind of passes is Lucho looking to make? How can Brandon pull defenders away, and how can I occupy that space? It takes time. And so it's really nice to make these big name signings and really, go after it. But, not everybody is a Cucho Hernandez that can just walk in day one and just completely flip over a franchise.
I think that's part of, well, yeah, well, we got lucky with Forsberg because he's sort of an in-house purchase.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but we've talked for years about our roster building or lack thereof, and not bringing in, let's say, a brand name, and I think that part of it too is that, I think that the casual fan tends to think of, oh yeah, if you get this guy, we'll be great, or if you get this guy, we'll be great. You guys, you sort of, it's my take has been, we need that mix of young talent, and we get a lot of that obviously out of our academy because it's been around a while. You see the guys that have come out. Obviously, we point to Tyler Adams, as like the poster child for our academy. He's doing phenomenal in his career. We've had other guys. Miazga was part of our academy as well. So we've had these guys come through and move on and come back, but for a couple of years we really didn't have the quality players, let's say. And it doesn't even need to be, let's say, a AAA brand name, but to have the other part of it, you guys have veteran presence. Mm-hmm. And we've gotten that with Emil Forsberg now, but you guys already had that for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And it took, like you were saying, it took that time to build. And I think that's part of when you look at some of the franchises that have come into MLS recently. Atlanta was able to put it together almost instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were sort of able to find that crazy mixture. And yeah, Tata is kind of a crazy coach too. So you add that into the mix, and they were great, but then they just suddenly fell off the cliff.
Exactly.
Once Joseph Martinez was out, there was just nothing there.
And then Austin.
Austin was great.
2 years ago was second in the West, and last year they were losing to Violette and CONCACAF Champions Cup. So it really is that, right? So we saw last year. I don't know how they're going to play out this season, but St. Louis, tops the Western Conference last year, just coming in as an expansion side. Right. So I think it's kind of fool's gold as of late on, hey, we need to make that instant change where, you see this is a whole new roster. This is easy to do. It's not. It's really not easy to
do. Yeah. Like, I think too, it's especially with, you look at Minnesota, they floundered the first few years that they were around. You guys obviously, suffered through that. Garry mentioned, the three wooden spoons, but I think that with the change in the front office, new coach, and obviously you started to do the roster turnover, so that all got brought in, and of course we benefited. I think, you guys got Frankie Amaya, and then he came to us. Now, I see his, listen, I don't think he was given the time to develop, and I think he was like sort of thrown to the wolves the first year, and he became the scapegoat. So we just got rid of our scapegoat. Barlow's now with Chicago. So now we're looking for our new scapegoat. Who's going to be? Yeah, well, Manuel. So but that's like every team does this.
Yeah.
You always find that one guy on the field that just, he's not pulling his weight. So who's your new scapegoat now that Frankie's gone? Who are you guys blaming?
Well, you see, Frankie, it's not so much a scapegoat, in my opinion. I think we were pretty harsh on Lacadia during that time, and maybe rightfully so. That was probably a bit wrongfully so, because I don't think Lacadia had a good system at FC Cincinnati at the time under Jaap Stam. But Frankie Amaya, for FC Cincinnati fans, if you hear the boos and you hear all that, it's about him leaving without saying thank you to the fan base.
I didn't think you guys really thanked him for being
first ever draft pick, and he just kind of left and decided, hey, I'm getting out of this mess. Which FC Cincinnati fans that may be listening to this might give me some slack or give me some crap on Twitter about this, but I don't really
Careful.
I don't.
Get ready, man.
Careful.
Twitter's forever, man.
I dealt with them. After that playoff series last year. Rabid bunch, you guys.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
I would say thank you, but I don't blame him from getting out of that burning ship. I mean, that was an absolute mess. We had one of the worst GMs in the league. We had the worst coach in the league. We were consistently underperforming. You were coming out of the pandemic too, so you had that kind of weird maturation to the city. You didn't really get a chance to fall in love with the city.
Right.
So, I mean, I think we're a bit too harsh on Frankie Amaya, but yeah, you better say thank you, or FC Cincinnati fans are coming for you. No matter. I mean, we had a countdown ticker on Ray Gaddis, and that's probably the nicest human being you'll ever meet in your life. So
I've heard nothing but great things about Ray Gaddis' professionalism.
He's amazing. Yeah, we love him, but it was kind of an inside joke. Like, people were looking at the timer, like, how many weeks has it been to see?
I mean, there's one thing.
So what do you think is going to happen in this game between our teams on Saturday?
It's hard to say because you it's almost bizarre because you normally know what to expect from Red Bulls, right? You know it's going to be a physical game. You know, it probably still will be a physical game, and same for FC Cincinnati. We like to get back at you, but it's hard to see like where Forsberg is actually going to propel you guys this season. I think he's done phenomenal for the Red Bulls this season, and I mean, it for me, I don't know what kind of FC Cincinnati we're going to get from week to week, and to go back to Red Bulls, I mean, how on earth? I mean, this is about like waiting your time and really, breaking out at the right time. Morgan has just been on fire for the Red Bulls, and he was a player that sometimes you could overlook him. It's like they don't really have that target guy up top. We don't have a guy that could make the difference and put on some scoring. But I mean, he's doing it this season. But for FC Cincinnati, I think that the moving pieces, injuries, the different competitions, the rotated sides, having some players miss on, maybe like we had Matt Miazga out still for that incident that happened up at Red Bull Arena. So it's hard to tell where we're at, but I know that this is still going to be a physical match. You're still going to see probably a low scoring game in this match. I feel pretty confident in that.
Yeah, definitely scoring.
But I think that you guys I think Amaya has played really well against us. And I think in the midfield can sometimes be where FC Cincinnati gets a little flounder. I think out on the wide areas, I think we're really good right now with Oriano and having Yedlin out there on the other side. I think we're really dynamic out there, but I think right now we're still trying to get Buka along, and Abina Nwobana is coming from an injury. So he will probably be sitting in a little bit more. So I think players like Frankie Amaya can find some space in the midfield.
Yeah, love Amaya. Thanks for giving him sauce, man. He's been incredible to start this season. Last game was his greatest, but he's had an incredible start to this season. Even my dad, who's even though he's Nigerian, he's a huge Premier League snob, Euro snob, and Premier League snob especially. Even he was saying, yeah, Amaya looks like he could be like a really, really good player. I'm like, yeah, he really is. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten USMNT call-ups yet. So thank you.
You're welcome. It only costs us 3 spoons for that. So,
all right, Justin, stick around for a bit because we're going to talk about, of course, the most dangerous segment of our show, which is, of course, the predictions. Usually they go right and most of them go wrong. But before we do that, there's a little bit of cleanup we have to do. Gotham FC played, of course, North Carolina Courage. And Courage got revenge after they got knocked out in the playoffs by the very same score, 1-0. Miss Pinto with the lone goal. And, of course, the next game for Gotham FC will be the home opener this Sunday. And we're all going to be there to check that out. That should be fun because there's going to be a championship banner to be raised in the rafters at Red Bull Arena. Meanwhile, a little bit of downer, of course, for my man Justin. The senior team, of course, will be facing each other, of course, this Saturday. But the junior teams, well, they faced each other previously. 3-2. New York Red Bulls 2 defeating FC Cincinnati 2. Sitson Ramos, of course, with the lone 2 goals for FC Cincinnati 2. Roland Mitchell, he's rolling. 2 goals in the 46th and 90th minute. Then, of course, Alexander, of course, at his tally. They are flying, this crew, and then they'll be playing against New York City Football Club 2 tomorrow for the FA. I keep saying FA, but the US Open Cup. And that's it would be held at Benson Stadium. For those of you who have no idea, look up St. John University Athletics. They're in Queens, and they're the stadium that sits on top of a parking lot. Look, I know a lot of people have been grousing about the U.S. Open Cup and people sending only their 2 teams. Go support the kids. You can't say you're a supporter and say, well, I'm only going to support the senior team. No. Take your butts out to Queens and go support the boys, okay? I'm going to be there. A lot of folks are going to be there. We're going to cheer on these guys and go on to the next round. Remember, 5 wins, you get a trophy. They got 1. Let's see if they can get past our rivals and then get on to round 3. So, Justin, like I said before, every time when we seem to face each other, of course, naturally, we trade punches, we trade threats, everything else. I got nukes, you got nukes. That's pretty much, everybody in Cincinnati hate our guts, okay? That's something we're pretty much used to. But this match in particular, I'm looking at this side and I'm looking at ours. And the one thing that scares the daylights out of me is the reigning MVP. Just when you think you got this dude in a box, he surprises the living daylights out of you, and then he tears your midfield and defense to shreds. Despite that, how are you seeing this match when it's all said and done after 90 minutes of stoppage time?
If you're asking me to give a score prediction, I'm gonna go with the home crowd. I'm gonna say 1-0 gets them over the top. I think that FC Cincinnati.
We don't want you getting killed by those guys in the Bay League.
Man, no.
We really don't. That would hurt us. I'd be like, you know what? I hate all y'all. Okay, he's a good dude. He represented y'all. He came in our show, spoke the truth. And what do? You're wasted. I hate you.
You're wasted.
You're wasted. Leave the boy alone. He's talking. I chatted with those folks. They're good folks. But when it comes to their sport teams, it's a bloodlust. I'm telling you. It's us versus the whole world. But good folks. So 1-0. Yeah. Lanre, you're in first place right now. So
wow, that's incredible.
Thanks to your blast.
People call me Jinx right now. I'm in first. Man, that's crazy. Man, that's crazy.
You just leapfrogged, over over Miguel, who's not going to be too happy about all this right now. But
Chelsea beating Arsenal. What's new?
Okay.
Stop. Mid-table.
Next week, I got to hear. Next week, I got to hear him and get mad at you.
Ready?
All right. So, what are you saying? What are you saying here? What do you say? What do you say about?
Okay, for me, 1-1.
Another 1-1 draw.
Yeah.
I thought we were done with. I thought we were done with these type of draws. We want wins now. Come on,
of course we want wins. It's just Cincinnati's a really tough team, especially in their stadium.
Yes. TQL Stadium. What did they say? There was Red Bull Arena on steroids. Well, I'm not going to knock that. It is a fabulous facility. Can't do it this year.
Beautiful.
Can't do it this year. 1 year, I will be there to check that place out. Check that place out. I got to see it myself, not to judge, because looking at pictures and everything else, it's gorgeous. Okay, it's a type of we're now just getting lights.
We're the best lights in the league.
Because
best lights in the league, baby.
Because our stadium sits on a stupid flight path with a certain airport, we can't have nice lights exterior. Lights like you guys got. No, we can't have that because we're afraid of planes crashing into them. I mean, make everybody happy. Oh, a plane crashed in Red Bull Arena. Yay! I told you, we hate it.
The rest
we're
of
hated.
the league can be happy.
We're very hated.
We can be happy. I'll be upset though. We be mad at the damn pilot. Can't fly.
They can't say nothing about our attendance numbers this year though. Remember
it's been pretty good. Mark, your turn. What are we saying after 90 minutes?
Nothing. I'm saying neither team gets on the board.
Nothing.
I think if you look at, I mean, they've scored 6 and allowed 3. That's it. 9 total goals in 6 games. They don't give you much to work with. And we've been pretty good. 9 and 6 for us.
2 of those have been PKs. So.
PKs. That's correct.
So they don't give up much. We've scored a few PKs this year, so you never know. But I have a feeling that somehow, some way, it stays 0-0.
You can find Justin Blair and the rest of his crew on Cincy Stalker Talk. As a matter of fact, he has to duck out because he's got a show in less than 3 minutes. Justin, to you and the rest of the crew, hope to see the rest of you guys. We thank you so much for visiting. Please do not be a stranger.
Thank you so much.
You again.
Really appreciate you.
Soon. Take care, my man. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. And anytime you guys want me to come back on, I'd be happy to.
The door is always open to our friends. That's how we run here. Take care, man. All right. So we got U.S. Open Cup tomorrow. It's going to rain. There's no way around it.
Of course it's going to rain.
Bro, it's going to rain. Man. Bring an umbrella. Okay, because there's no cover over at Belson Stadium except if you unless you're hanging on the underneath the bench, the bleachers. I mean, there's no real cover over there. Hopefully it doesn't rain too much, but it should be a game. And I know a lot of folks, I mean, we know the history, right? We talked about this, okay, in the past and in many shows, right? Fans are very upset at Major League Soccer because they decided, well, we're not going to send our best over there. But I distinctly remember you guys played in front of family and friends at Red Bull Arena. You didn't have sellouts. You didn't have 10,000 fans. You had less than 700? Okay. Some of y'all went, but most of y'all bitched and moaned. Then you moved over to MSU Soccer Park. Great venue. We packed the place, right? Nice. I mean, that was fun. I mean, it was fun. Okay. It was 2 games that I witnessed there in MSU Soccer Park, which is basically I refer to as my ancestral home since I started writing for the team over there. Okay. It was great. But what did I hear? Some of you guys bitched and moaned. Most of y'all went. Some of you guys bitched and moaned. Okay. Fast forward to this year. Tomorrow night. The weather ain't going to be nice. I mean, I won't get mad at y'all for staying at home, watching it, watching on TV. And I agree. John and I have been in that place, right? You know what to see on their website? State-of-the-art facility. That had been with weathered seats, okay, and no hangover. I mean, hey, we don't have a roof over our place.
State-of-the-art 30 years ago. Well, maybe 40.
It's a dated facility. The carpet is trash, but it works. It works for that college team, and it certainly works for New York City football too. Yeah. I mean, don't believe me? Ask John Amaral. We were there. We took a look at the place and said, Jesus, when's the last time they upkeep this? You figured that NYCFC too, right? At least Red Bull spent some money at that facility over in MSU Soccer Park. It did not look like that. They added a clubhouse. No. They added turf, which is probably higher grade. Yeah. They added lights. Mm-hmm. From what I understand, they're going to change those lights to LEDs, just like over in Red Bull Arena. Of course, that will have to be done during the off season because they share the field with MSU Hawks, who also like that place. Okay. You figure that you figure the NYCFC when I had their footprint because in a couple of years their home base will no longer be in the Bronx. They'll be in Queens. So you're trying to tell me you're not going to spread some do-re-mi to that place unless they don't want the money. Oh well.
I don't think it'll go through. I still have yet to be convinced that it'll actually go through.
Like we've always said, Lanre, right? Until we see the shovels on the ground, that's when it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even then, not even until it's finished, because I've heard of plenty of stadiums, in world football that they started putting shovels in the ground, and for one reason or another, it just wasn't finished. Like I think like Belgium, Brussels, Belgium had a great stadium that they were going to use for the Euro 4 years ago,
and it was unfinished.
Yeah,
for years.
It was unfinished. They
for years. I'm like,
listen,
how do you build a facility?
I was going to say, there's a nuclear power plant out in Long Island that they started on the North Shore years and years ago.
Right.
There's like, in today's, I guess it's almost $60 million worth of foundations that were laid in, and that was it. The locals went crazy, screamed and yelled, and no more nuclear power plant. And what are you going to, and when you come in, you spent all that money and you got to walk away from it because, the neighborhood says no, and you can't get anybody to say yes. That's the same thing city's going to be up against. They get enough of these people, they're going to come out and scream and yell at the city council and say, you can't build this thing.
City council already gave their blessing.
Yeah, but once
it's just one step away.
Really?
Yeah, but once the people start
one step away, they took a major leap. So they're just one step away from saying, okay, it's happening. But next after that step, shovels on the ground. That's how it works. I mean, that's the one thing that city can say over us. They got a stadium in New York City. We're just hanging out somewhere in Jersey. But enough about that. Next week, 2 of the original 3 returns. Finally, hopefully, I mean, we've been trying to get this in for you guys have been basically the steady partnership. But Miguel and our good friend Carlos, our co-producer, can't seem to get him on the show.
Missing in action, man.
Missing in action.
Milk carton Carlos.
He's gonna get mad when it's on Milk Carton Carlos, but he will be back next week. For the rest of you guys, thank you so much, of course, for joining us for the last hour. We'd like to thank Justin Blair for showing up, for giving us my final score when it's all said and done. I'm gonna go for it. 2-1 Red Bulls. They need this win. They need this win.
We do.
Okay, remember when I said about they're telling everybody that they're supposedly a good team. Well, you're a good team if you beat one of the best teams out there.
Prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm laying it all out in the lawn. I'm laying it all out in the line. Prove it. 2-1. Yeah, I'm sitting at the bottom of the table right now. I got nothing to lose. Okay, I'm in dead last, but I got nothing to lose.
You have to throw.
But I feel good. I feel good about this game. It's going to be a defensive rock fight. Don't get it twisted. Okay, if either team walks out of there 1-0, I won't be surprised because it's either going to be done by a mistake. FC Cincinnati isn't this formidable team offensively that we once were last year. Okay.
No.
They're sputtering a little bit. So that's advantage on our defensive end. However, we got issues on offense from anyone not named Dante Van Zier, who should score goals, and of course Lewis Morgan, who should score goals. But if those 2 guys are kept quiet, boys, it ain't happening. And that maybe that 0-0 draw mark just might be the final score.
Do we know if Forsberg's playing?
We don't know yet. Yeah.
Don't know yet. We will ask. No, we will ask. The press conference with the coach is on Thursday. We will ask. Okay. When I say we, I mean us in the media, myself in the media, and everybody else. They're going to be asking that. If Forsberg plays, it'll go a long way of maybe getting some points. But if he's not, keep him off the field until it's all said and done. That's it.
If he's not healthy, just let him rest. Hamstrings are terrible to heal. Speaking of which, I wanted to bring this up at the start of the podcast.
Go ahead. We got a few seconds.
I don't know why. Okay, I guess Coach Schwartz maybe has found out now. I don't know why you would bring on Manuel instead of Goma in that late game situation down in Orlando.
Well, you're trying.
Is Goma still nursing his hamstring or something?
He's coming off a hamstring. Remember what I keep saying about hamstring injuries. They're a bitch. Okay,
they are a bitch.
One bad cut, one juke, and you're right back to the bench. Okay, when your body is going one way and your legs are going the other. Okay, we saw how he was. Like a house of fire, running around, picking off passes, darting into the box. His main weapon, speed.
Yes.
Okay, the guy's got pace, and if one of your legs is dragging, no, you might as well just simply play catch with your feet with your other outfield player. But that's how he harasses people with New York Red Bull too. And that's how he got those couple of goals on the senior team. But he's got that pace. He's got that pace that just makes people stand on their feet. And I'd rather have him for that, late in the game, coming off the bench and playing that role where I'm just going to run at you and run at you and run at you against tired defensive legs to get a goal or to tie one or to go ahead. He's a weapon. And
he's better than Elias.
Right. And if you have that type of weapon, you do whatever you have to do to get him, to get him ready. If it means sitting on the bench for a while, fine. But one of these fine days, he's going to be 100% Lanre. And oh, my Lord, he's going to be a terror. Okay.
Oh, my agenda will feed families.
That's another, it'll be just like another new signing we grab. If he's 100% healthy, that's an option off the bench, and that'll make everybody here smile. Like, oh, we got this kid. You think the guy's in 11 the first thing? Wait till we got guys off the bench. But still, need a home run hitter just to scream to the world, we're going for it. Even if we go down on a loss, we're going for it. Because I don't think we're going to get very far with the type of players that we have. Of course, naturally, I say that. I hope I'm proven wrong. But not in this case. My gut's telling me every other great team, every other contender out there has got a home run hitter. We don't.
Not yet.
We don't.
We'll
so I'm gonna wait until see what Mr. Schneider's cooking. But he better be cooking.
Mr. Guzman.
He better be cooking. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, if you missed a live episode, if you missed a live show, all of our episodes are going to be loaded on Spotify, our YouTube channel, and, of course, gold.tv the very next day. If you want to do, for those of you who want to catch us, of course, on the YouTube channel, just simply like and subscribe so that way when a new show is coming up, which is happening every Monday, you'll be notified. And, of course, you can be able to join in the fun like the rest of the folks. Speaking of them, thank you guys so much for joining in, and we appreciate you, and of course we appreciate of course your comments and everything else. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, good night and goodbye for now.